Welcome to the 2015 Geneva Motor Show.
We'll be having a look at some interesting cars and catching up with some very interesting people.
We can't fit everything into one program, so if you need to find out more about a particular model or interview, click on the red dot at the bottom of the screen. For many people, me included, Ferrari's 458 was one of the best cars they'd ever manufactured, especially from a driver's perspective. It would be a difficult car to beat, but this year Ferrari have managed to pull a rabbit out of the hat. I present to you the Ferrari 488 GTB. Unusually for Ferrari, they've created a V8 engine, but this time with twin turbos to produce even more power whilst retaining emissions. Top speed of 205 miles an hour, a 0 to 60 time in less than 3 seconds. Just take a look at the lines, it's absolutely beautiful.
Geneva wouldn't be Geneva if it didn't have Pagani's, and again Pagani have bought 2 wirers, both customer cars, one a US spec, one a UK spec, here to their stand for Geneva Motor Show. They're both lovely.
You can't come to Geneva without passing the Koenigsegg stand and coming onto it. There's always something with a wow factor. This has got a really, really big wow factor. This is their latest offering, it's the Regera. How fast? Incredibly fast. Acceleration figures, mind-blowing. Warp speed stuff. It's a combination of standard internal combustion engine and alternative power. Unfortunately, they're only making 80 units.
The Quant, it works on nano flow cell technology. Sounds a little bit like a flux capacitor to me. It's got Lambo doors, which is cool. There's no one here really to tell us much about it, which means we can't really tell you much about it. It's got some wood in it. It's got some blue paint. It's got some great doors. That's the Quant.
Try and guess what this car is. You've got 3 seconds. Time's up. I'll put you out of your misery. It's a Mini. If you feed a Mini enough Red Bull, it ends up like this. This is totally pumped up on steroids. This car's been built for the Dakar. It's running a 3-litre diesel BMW straight 6 running north to south, pumping out the power through 4-wheel drive. It's not actually as big as you think it is, it's just I'm a bit short.
918 Spider, we're starting to see deliveries now rolling out to customers. We've seen them on track, we've seen them demoed, and now some lucky people are getting to take delivery of what is a new level of supercar. Hybrid technology, super performance, amazing touchscreen dash. It's kind of rocket science, I guess. But there is something more traditional, and it's over there. The new variant of the 911, it's still a 911, but it's the race-inspired version, GT3 RS. We've got a bit more venting in the wings, we've got a half cage in there, we've got a bucket seat, we've got a centre line on there, and we've got a great big wing on the back. What more could you want from Porsche?
Since 10 years we have the Cayman in our assortment, and now it was time to give them a crown, and that is the GT4. He has 385 horsepower, the speed is 295 kilometers per hour, and we are very proud of this car. I suppose we are a very sporty company, and we have very sporty customers. A lot of them loves to drive on the racetrack, and especially for them are these cars.
So how about this, the Cayman GT4? Porsche Cayman, mid-engined, another big spoiler, developed on the racetrack for road use. GT4, carbon bucket seats, nice bit of Alcantara going on. I'm sure it'll be really popular, and I'm sure it will be bulletproof technology yet again from Porsche.
Right, I'm trying to find out some more about this 300 SL. It's in German and it's in French. Unfortunately, there's nothing in English. Having found someone to translate for me, I can tell you a bit more about this particular car. It's a 1952 Mercedes 300 Gullwing, and this particular model won the 1955 Mille Miglia in its class, driven by John Fitch, the American racing driver. Coincidentally, the number of the car, 417, is the time it actually started the race. This is Mercedes' tribute to the original 417 Mille Miglia car over there. This is the SL 400 Mille Miglia edition. Looking at it, it's interesting, it's a styling exercise, but I know which car I'd prefer, and it ain't this one.
1973, Ford Mexico. What more could you want? We've gone back in time. Actually, it's better than half the cars here, to be perfectly honest.
One of the cars I've been hoping to see here at Geneva is this, the Alfa Romeo 4C. Built in very limited numbers, 2,000 cars a year on the Maserati production line. Raw performance figures, 0 to 100 time 4.1 seconds, top speed of 257. They're only producing 2,000 units a year. What a fabulous looking car.
Germans have a phrase for this car. It's called Guten Morgen. Good Morgen. And it's English, so we like it even more.
Take a look at the front end. This big smiley face is unmistakably a Ferrari, but it's a Ferrari with a difference, a Ferrari with a twist. This is Touring Superleggere's take on the Ferrari. It's a one-off created for a customer who wanted a car bespoke to his own particular specifications. He wanted slightly different lines, special interior, and look at it, it's absolutely magnificent. It's a Berlinetta Lusso.
BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Lots of BMWs here, but nothing really that's catching my eye. And I don't know why. Bit sad, really.
I disagree with Giles because tucked away in this corner is what I consider to be the star of the show, the BMW i8. Here's a car that's very, very true to the original concept that we saw 3, maybe 4 years ago in Frankfurt. What's wrong with this?
Gets about 8 miles to the gallon.
I mean, if someone's siphoning the fuel out, maybe.
Well, yeah, most probably. I've most probably driven over a rocky road and
and you've ruptured the fuel
tank.
Exactly.
But really, it's not what they said about, you know, plug it in and drive it for miles and it'll do super efficiency and everything else.
I think that's true of most hybrids, in all honesty. To get those figures, you're talking about stripped out, minimal tank fuel and everything else. But in the real world, I would argue that for 100k, this is a relatively practical supercar. From my point of view, this is an important car for Jaguar because they've launched a four-wheel drive version of the XF with the R supercharged engine. I can't think of any direct competitors apart perhaps from Audi's R8 Cabriolet.
The new Lotus Evora 400. 400 brake horsepower from a supercharged Toyota Lump. It's got a new front to it, a new rear to it, and it's the most powerful and fastest Lotus ever produced, which is a surprise to me because I always imagined the Lotus Esprit Turbo was up there. It's not. This beats it.
The name Pininfarina must be associated with some of the most striking designs that have ever reached the roads. In fact, they've been designing for Ferrari since the 1950s. The late, great Sergio Pininfarina passed on about 3 years ago, and the company created a tribute to mark his name. We saw that originally in concept form, and I'm very pleased to announce that they've created the Sergio. Based on a 458, it's finally made it into production. Unlike the original concept that we saw, it's had to grow a full-length windscreen, but you can see it's a cleaner take on the 458. It's got these striking lines. Notice the black sculpting up to the top. It looks a quicker, more exciting version. I'm so pleased that this car's made it to the streets, especially so, and the fact that it's in limited quantities makes it a coveted object of desire.
So we've bumped into Sir Sterling Moss, legend of English motorsport.
Thank you.
With a Borgward.
Yeah.
Which we obviously can see the new car, or the old car here.
Yeah.
The new car, you were telling me, isn't going to be seen till
Not
Frankfurt.
till Frankfurt, I think.
But again, what's your beautiful looking car? And I must admit, some of the older cars are the ones that I'm finding the most fascinating
I must say, you look at that car, I mean, it's really old, but it was a great car at the time. The engineering and so on was very advanced on that. And, you know, I mean, you can take the car they've got here as an old car. I'm sure it'd be jolly good in modern racing, actually.
It's bright, it's yellow. It's Lamborghini's 750 SV. The SV is Su for Veloce. The 750 stands for 750 CV, which is the power output. Torque's not far behind it. It's 690. Very, very limited edition. I imagine it's going to sell like hotcakes.
You know, everybody is doing his job. The competition is good for the customers. It's also good for us because the challenges are getting higher and higher. And we are sticking to our V12 and V10 engines, which are naturally aspirated. So this is a differentiator. We have 4x4 driven cars, so this is another thing which is unique in the super sports car business. And we have a design which is immediately recognizable. So I think Lamborghini is the best.
If, like our cameraman, you come from Essex, you're going to be getting hot and bothered. You're going to be getting all excited about this because this is Ford's new RS. Don't be fooled by the appearance. There aren't any big wings, spoilers, bubbles or anything else, but underneath the bonnet there's an EcoBoost engine that's kicking out 320 PS. Is this son of Cosworth? Of real significance for Ford this year is this, the new Ford GT. A real handsome car. Supercar performance, supercar prices, over 600 horsepower from one of the new Ford EcoBoost engines. It's a fantastic looking car. I can't see how Ford are going to fail with this one. The order books are full. The 200 units allocated for the UK have all gone. Cars being produced in Canada. I think it's an absolutely fantastic achievement.
Corvette Z06, we've seen it campaigned at the Nürburgring, we've seen it burbling around, and it really does make a huge impression whenever you hear this hurtling down those straights. It's got that just American muscle car grunt to it, and that kind of has it immediately sold to some people. It's never really converted to the UK, but it is a great machine actually.
Behind me is the Magna. Possibly a taste of things to come. A potential bit of competition maybe for the BMW i8. This car's made out of aluminium instead of all the carbon fibre that we're getting used to. Fingers crossed that it makes production.
Okay, BMW, we said, lacked excitement. Mercedes actually have done it. Side pipes, always good as side exit exhaust. Matte paint, always good. Fins, gills, lots of stuff, always good. Excitement, we like.
Think about Denmark and possibly your mind might conjure up images of windmills and butter. Certainly not supercars. But here's Denmark with a twist. This is the Zenvo, a car created by an entrepreneur with a background in F1 racing. The car's very exclusive, 5 units a year. It's being aimed at clients who perhaps have a stable of Ferraris and Lamborghinis, but they want a supercar that's practical enough to go shopping in.
Yusuf will remember these. Do you remember those Bond cars that they made to look like oranges?
Yes, the Bond Bug, the Bond Bug.
No, but the ones that actually had a Satsuma on them or a...
Oh yes, there used to be one at Hampton Court Bridge. This is it.
This is the modern day equivalent.
Reborn with a nice interior and a happy smiley face.
It's even got a sweet inside.
Do you think it's edible? I want to lick the paint and see. Take a look at this. Sadly, it's only a concept, but this magnificent looking model comes from Ital Design. It's their vision of a car for the future. Powered by electric motors. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Wait for it. This concept comes from EDAG. It's called the Light Cocoon. Never seen anything like it. It's a cocoon chassis with LEDs behind it. It's an organic concept. I can't tell you very much more about it, but it's the best light show I've ever seen. It's like a disco on wheels. Please don't let the innocuous battleship grey colour of this McLaren deceive you. It's a 675. It's a lightweight car, 100 kilograms lighter than standard. Absolutely blistering performance, and yet a wonderful interior to complement the car. A limited edition for those who can afford it. The star of McLaren stand, of course, is this amazing looking P1 GTR. Very, very aggressive styling. This is a car, the development of which was driven by P1 existing owners who went to special operations and said, can you build us something different? Well, this is what we've got. It's 1,000 horsepower, 200 of which comes from regenerative. McLaren can't even quote performance figures yet. It's that damn quick. This is like having an amplifier that goes to 11.
Aston Martin have thrown everything at their track day creation, an 800 plus brake horsepower, all carbon fibre Aston Martin Vulcan, yours for just £1.8 million. If that's a little bit too steep for you, you could always go for the Aston Martin GT3, which is also available.
This year, Mansouri had brought along to Geneva a modified Lamborghini, a Mercedes-Benz and a Bentley.
25 years since the launch of the original Honda NSX, they finally got around to releasing its successor. It's called the NSX.
What do you do when you own the world's oldest Ferrari and you want something a little bit more extreme? You do this, you create your own supercar and then you put it on the market. This is the SCG 003C from Scuderia Cameron Glickenhaus. The company that developed this is owned by Jim Glickenhaus, ex-film director and producer, Wall Street mogul, and classic car enthusiast. And now he's got his own brand. What more could the guy do? This is the SCG 003C from Scuderia Cameron Glickenhaus. It's the road-going version of the race car, but it is race technology. A carbon tub, 520 horsepower, weighs virtually nothing. This is going to be one fast street machine, and it looks every bit of that.
Highlights of the show for you, Charles?
Had to be Jim Glickenhaus, the SCG 003C. Great to see a car coming from a concept right through to completion. Obviously backed by quite an individual, and also, of course, meeting up with Sir Sterling Moss again. It's the people that have made the show for me rather than the cars, surprisingly.
Yes, it's been a bit emptier, maybe not enough dynamic compared to what we've been used to in the past, where there's always been something new and exciting heralded. For me, it's seeing the Pininfarina Sergio come from concept to the point where, given enough money and you don't mind waiting, you can buy one. But I guess that sums up the show this year. So until next year, see you in 2016.
Yeah, 2016, there's a challenge for you. Let's have some more va-va-voom and get going.